Hello. How are you doing?
I
Oh my
am
God.
wonderful. Thank you so
Yay.
much for having me.
Oh, that has been so much fun. So now that we've talked, we had like these three people chat about keto. We're all going on a completely different direction. And I think it's really important to highlight that your personal journey towards food freedom and towards feeling amazing in your body and amazing in your life is different from
Yeah.
everybody else's.
Mhm.
And I am pretty sure that there will be someone that is going to be so happy for our next two speakers. One is Kristine, and the other one is going to be Lucia. I'm pronouncing it the Italian way because I'm Italian.
I love
I'm pretty
it.
sure I'm not pronouncing it right. She's going to correct me as soon as she comes up in
Sophia,
1 hour.
she's a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so Kristine has been vegan for 8 years. Is that right?
that is correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So I would love to hear about your story because, like Kristine and I know each other. We are in a business mastermind together. We are in the leadership program together. So I got to know her really well, especially lately in the past 3 months. And it has been really inspiring to see how she is fighting for her life in a way. And she can talk a little bit more about that. But one of the things that I really admire about her is that she's really passionate about what she's doing, and her story is really an inspiring one because we all had shitty life. If we dig deep, we've all had something, but Kristine has really come around, and I am so proud of you, girl.
Oh, right back at you, just holding up the mirror.
Yes. And so, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what your story is, how you overcome some of the challenges that life have put in front of you, and how come you became a vegan, and how did you decide to turn that into something to empower people?
Wow. How much time do we have?
55 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll start from the beginning. Like you mentioned, we have been doing this leadership training together, and it's really helped me work through my childhood trauma and just letting that go. I was sexually abused when I was 7, so we can start there. That's kind of where everything started, and that led me down a path of uh, abusing myself, no self-love, addiction to anything from cigarettes to alcohol to just numbing what was going on in my mind, just feeling unloved, that was on my own. No one was going to come save me. When I told about what had happened, I wasn't being believed. So there was a lot of basically thinking I was going crazy because my mind was telling me one thing, my body was kind of keeping the score of everything I was doing to just stop all these feelings of depression and anxiety. And it's been a journey, really been a and I feel what happened to us when I now am very fortunate. I am the mother of 3 children, and they're my why. They're my reason for stopping this cycle of generational trauma and just showing up as the best version of myself, so they will know that they are loved, that how much they mean to me. And they might be in therapy in 20 years saying that my mom said I love you so many times is too much, but I just think that they're my reason for everything. And we didn't quite see it as that when my son, when he was born, he had a lot of issues. He had asthma, he had stomach issues, he had these like skin rashes, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And until one day we were told that he was allergic to dairy, which I didn't know what to deal. I didn't know what to do with that because I grew up in Sweden. That's where my beautiful accent is from. And we had dairy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. It was like oxygen. Like, so when they told us like that no dairy, I'm like, oh my goodness, what's wrong with you? Like, who are you? Can I see your credentials? You know? Like, and my mom worked for the Swedish Dairy Association. So I used to walk around with t-shirts that said, you know, milk is life. You know, I really believe that like not a day in my whole life had gone by without me having some sort of dairy. So we were kind of dumbstruck. We're like, what do you mean? Like, what else is there to eat? Like lettuce? Like what? I don't like lettuce. But it brought us down this beautiful path of just learning. And for me, the biggest connection was I think that I had always been vegan at heart. Like I would eat animals thinking I had to because of protein. And then I watched the documentary Forks Over Knives. Forks Over Knives. It just changed my life. In that movie, they say that they highlight that you can get rid of all these chronic diseases from heart disease to diabetes to asthma to seasonal allergies, which I suffered from, by just cutting out animal products from your diet. And again, I was just like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Like what, you're taking my meat, you're taking my dairy, you're like, what's going on? But then I was also really excited about it because I could never think the meal through from its origin. Say I was eating chicken or a hamburger, I could never fully take the blinders off and think about where that came from. Because, and it just, the path has brought us through like going to farm sanctuaries and meeting, you know, the animals that we see as food animals. And we have the 3 rescued beagles here, and I love dogs. And I couldn't see the difference between looking in the eyes of a pig or a cow. I saw the same sentient being as I do in my dogs. So knowing what I knew then after watching Forks Over Knives and digging deep, like reading all the books, like learning that you don't need to eat animals for protein anymore. It was so liberating. So I love that you call this summit like the freedom, food freedom, because for me now, meat, eggs, and dairy is not food anymore. So for me, it's like I feel free. And my son no longer has asthma. My husband doesn't have asthma. I don't have seasonal allergies anymore. And I was so desperate at one point that I was going to go in and get daily, if not more, allergy shots because I couldn't breathe. And I don't have that anymore. So that's all gone. And my son's skin issues are gone. It's just for my family, it's like changed our life.
That's so good to hear that. Yeah, because there is so much discussion about what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat. And one of the things that actually we talked about with, I think it was Jan Maleka, in one of the interviews, is like, it's not about eating what's healthy, it's about eating what's right for you. And right for you can mean anything. I mean, if you eat because someone told you that this is a meal plan, go and eat it and you will get healthy, but that doesn't resonate with you because you have your belief, you have your ethical system in place. I mean, we can't fight that. And we're not, like, our bodies are not disconnected from our souls and our mind and our energy and the people around us. So we can't just like say, okay, also I'm going to make an exception for this thing and everything else, because everything is connected. And so I'm really happy to hear that you find your fantastic way of of actually being healthy. And this has helped so many issues. And yeah. And so let me ask you, so what are you doing right now? Because like Mom Vegan Love is, apart from the fact that I love the name, what is it?
Oh, yes, that's my little company, or yeah, I don't know what I want to call it yet, but it's my passion, my movement that yeah, so I'm on Instagram under Mom Vegan Love, and I have a blog, and I just finished a summit called the Vegan Curious Summit. So basically what I want to do, I want to help people get healthy. I also am working with sober curious people, because I've been sober now for, oh my goodness, 8 years too, I think this summer. Now here in July. And that is so beautiful because I I used to count the days, and now it's just been years. So I just want to give people hope. I want to give people hope that anything you want can be achieved. And just by using, for me personally, using this force that I've used to destroy myself in the past, to numb all these feelings of anxiety and depression, into creating something amazing instead. And my passion is veganism because it has helped us, like our family. And I also, the more I learn about it, it's also amazing for the environment, which I didn't know. Like factory farms is one of the greatest costs for um, global warming. And I didn't know that. If you're curious about that, you can watch Cowspiracy. The name is a little silly, but they highlight a lot of issues that I was not aware of. Like we try to do all these different things to preserve water, like take shorter showers, or all these things. And I was not aware the amount of water it takes to raise a cow and to get ready to be slaughtered, for example, or the amount of the food that being has to eat to become the size where it's, uh, the life ends. And as you can tell, like for me, just talking about cows as food, like my heart just like it breaks for me. But for my husband, going vegan, the environmental reasons were like that was the big draw for him. And I just want to help people see how easy it can be. Because like I said, me 10 years ago, if somebody would have said that I was going to be here talking about going vegan, I would have thought they were crazy, absolutely crazy. And here I am, and I'm just like, woo, it's so amazing on this side. So I want to help people that are curious about going vegan, and it just seems unobtainable. Like I said, we had dairy breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. We had some sort of meat, maybe not for breakfast, but at least for lunch or dinner every day, eggs every day as well. So it was just, for me, it was just like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. And I'm also like a recovering perfectionist. So if I ever start something, I want to be perfect at it from day one. But how can you be perfect when you're reshaping everything? Like your whole worldview is just like changing. So I heard you talk about it a little bit earlier about the baby steps, and that's what I was trying to do with my Vegan Curious Summit. I just wanted to show people that there are a million ways to get here. All you have to do is be curious, open to learning more, and have a positive attitude. Make it have it be fun. Like it gets to be fun, and that's what I want to show people, that being sober can be fun, being vegan can be fun, and that we're not giving anything up. In fact, we quit. I quit poisoning myself with alcohol. I quit poisoning myself with cigarettes. And I quit putting, excuse my words, but dead animals in my body anymore. I don't want to be a part of that anymore. I quit. So that to me is like a lot more empowering than using words like giving up. Like I had to give up dairy because my son was allergic to it. No, what we did was, after a while, we Googled, dairy is scary. You got to be a little bit brave. But yes, once I knew that there were other things to eat and learning about the dairy industry, and especially since my mom was working for the Swedish Dairy Association, it was like there was a lot to overcome to even start talking about the fact that I feel like dairy is actually damaging humans, of course the cows. And we were vegetarians for a while too, and I didn't think that dairy hurt the animals. You know, we're just using something that's already there, like we're not harming the animals. And I didn't know, there was so many things that I didn't know. uh, I had no idea that cows are pregnant for 9 months. I didn't know that. And then as being a mother, understanding that the only reason that we lactate is because we have had a baby. So then asking questions like, where is the cow's baby? Is that veal? Is that where, you know, and what happens to the cow after they can no longer produce? How many cycles of pregnancies do we make them go through? And the fact that they're often, they don't get a lot of time in between their, you know, pregnancies. So they're often pregnant again while we extract the milk from them, and the hormones, the pregnancy hormones in that milk. And what does, okay, let's think about this. What does a cow's milk, what is it for? It is to make a small calf into a full grown cow in as short amount a period as possible. So what will that do to a grown human being? We just get to ask, we just get to ask these questions and be curious. And that's what I want to do with Mom Vegan Lab. I just want to kind of crack the, you know, this bubble where we've been, and just dare to ask the questions and showing people that I'm on the other side of the fence now. The grass is greener here. I mean, I want to go back and tell myself that 10 years ago, it's safe, come on over. You're not like giving anything up. But I also honoring that it's really scary to be where I was. So I just want to meet people where they are and just be curious, you know, and just kind of show them that the things that we eat, and my whole family is vegan now, and my kids are vegan, and just how healthy we are and how happy we are, and like so connected to just our compassion and our love, you know. And that's just, I just want to show people that this way, like, yeah, that is safe, it's fun, it's exciting. That was a really long answer, but
No, it's beautiful, and it shows like how much this means to you. And like on the dairy thing, like human beings are mammals. Like all other mammals, we give birth to a live baby that needs mom's milk to develop. And if you think about this, and this is for like everybody, even if you are like keto, whatever diet you're on, I think dairy could be one thing that you would like to give up, just after hearing what Kristine just said and what I'm going to share. So the milk is designed for the baby, and it changes every week according to the development of the baby. So this is into our DNA and into the DNA of every mammals on the planet. Now, do you think it's a good idea to, first of all, keep drinking milk after we're not, like in babies, we're not lactant, I think it is in English, anymore. So once we're off that phase, our body automatically stops creating the enzymes to digest the milk, because this is how we've been, this is how mammals work. We're animals, guys, like we're animals. And one of the things that happens when we keep drinking milk, and I don't know if you noticed, but they're trying to push milk, like a non-human milk, to human babies as soon as possible, with like formula that is also full of sugar. So like not a good idea. And if you're wondering like, oh my gosh, but I don't produce milk, so how can I like sustain my baby? There are mothers, like that actually share their milk, and you can absolutely find those types of people and associations in everywhere in the world. So it is possible. It's not super easy because formula is just way easier to use, but it's giving a lot of problems to our kids. So out of the with the formula. And so if you are drinking, if you are giving like a human baby the milk of a cow, which is like supposed to develop the calf, like, and I mean more or less is 1 year, and then in 1 year, how much weight does this calf, this baby cow, gains? Like, that's a lot. And if you look at babies and children right now in our modern age, what are they trying to do? They're trying to behave exactly like a calf and just, and because that is not that is not mom's milk. That is not human mom milk. It's like milk from another species. And why is it okay to drink cow milk or goat milk and not like dog milk, rat milk? I mean, if we're drinking the milk of all of these two mammals, why are we not drinking the milk of other mammals? I mean, and and then just to wrap it all up, so I earlier I ruined coffee for everybody. Now I'm gonna ruin dairy for everybody. It's like, have you ever seen an ape, a monkey, going like underneath another animal and just like take the milk out and then eat that milk? No, you have never seen a monkey behave like that. And like, guys, we're monkeys. Like, we are the big apes. And that behavior that we had was just a response from our evolution to just do not starve, because that was the main problem with us in our human evolution, is just we were starving, so we were eating whatever was available. Right now we're in the safest times of all our history, so we can choose what type of behavior. We don't have to follow what we've been doing since, it's not since the beginning of time, because like dairy consumption has been introduced into our lives around 10,000, yes, 10,000 years ago, which in terms of human evolution, it's like the day before yesterday. So it's not an ingrained behavior. It's just not a good idea altogether. And yes, I'm done with that.
No, and I hear all that for sure. And also, that is very interesting because I did grow up in Sweden, like I said. So the evolution of my ancestors feeling at the time that they, in the winter, they didn't have that many options. Supposedly, more people from like the northern parts of the earth are less lactose intolerant, and then the closer to the equator we go, the more lactose intolerant. But we really are all lactose intolerant because we are not baby calves. So there's a doctor, I think it might be in Forks Over Knives. Like, I tell my patients, look in the mirror. Do you have big ears? Do you have a tail? Well, if that answer is no, it's not your milk. Don't drink it. I just think that's so funny. And yeah, that's why we're being sold over and over and over again. And they are amazing at advertising. Amazing at advertising. I mean, I thought I needed to drink milk for calcium. As it turns out, it actually extracts calcium from your bones and has the opposite effect. Who knew? Who knew? We get to be curious.
Yeah, we got to be curious, and it's so important to never take what you believe and what is told to you as like the Bible and like the truth. Just question everything. Do your research. Do your homework. Mm-hmm. I know that word might have like triggering effect on people, but like really go out there, do your research, go and see which experts and which people you trust, and then see if their life aligned to what they're saying. And if you see them like super healthy and advertising something, then that might be something that you want to look into. Like, be aware that you have the power of decision, and this is the whole point. Like, food freedom and like freedom around food is freedom around your food choices, what you eat and what you decide not to eat, because that is real freedom right there. And I think I'm repeating myself because I've been saying that a lot a lot of the times. So like Kristine have found what works for her and for her family, and they are happy because of that choice that has been made with awareness and with freedom of choice. No one just said like go and do this to her or anybody else. But if you feel like you've been pushed to do something, then be aware that you have the power, and you have my permission. I'm giving you permission. Kristine is giving you permission to go and question everything, to go out there and know. And if you're curious about what veganism is, how you could start making a change, because I know that a lot of people, even when we were talking before about keto, we were talking about like substituting stuff. And one of the things that I personally don't like that much is like, oh, I can substitute this for that, but that is not this. And so if you really want to eat this, then you might as well be honest with yourself. Just do it, go eat the thing, go through maybe like a food timeline or something to get awareness on what is going on in your body and how are you feeling the next day maybe, and then go in and really see if that is supporting of your life and your energy and whatever you want to do, because it is really important to be honest with yourself and then try and experiment. And I'm pretty sure that Kristine has like a million different recipes and meal prepping things and like cooking with real food, raw food, produce that doesn't have like a million different ingredients in it. Because one of the things that kind of um, uh, that I didn't really like about a few vegans that I met was that they were like, oh, and then I eat like vegan cheese and then vegan sausage and then vegan this, and I'm like, what is the deal with all those things? Because they have a lot of ingredients, and like I want people to get off of processed and packaged foods. And one of the things that happens is that if you are going vegan because you want to be healthier and you want to give up the processed food, then you can't go and just switch to, instead of being like meat products, food, similar food, not non really food, and then you go and start eating the same exact products, they're just vegan.
Right. Yeah, and I hear that, and that's why I think that there's three main reasons for going vegan. Like one is like the ethical reasons, which were so close to my heart. Just like animals is not food anymore. I mean, they're sentient beings. They feel, they have families, they want to live. You know, that's what really get me going. For my husband, is the environment, and then health reasons. Those are I would say are the three main reasons for going vegan. The reason I feel like substitutes, like say Beyond Meat, all that is important, I feel, is for the environment and for ethical vegans. So like I didn't stop eating hamburgers because I didn't like the taste of them. I stopped eating hamburgers because I didn't want to eat, a crushed up cow anymore, or however many cows are in there. So I think that the substitutions, the alternatives are great for transitioning. And then once you're like over on this side, then you can see that it's easy, and you can still get all the flavors, you can still get the textures, the feeling full, like I'm never hungry. You can still eat everything you want. Then you can also shift into being like, okay, what is actually healthiest for me, So I feel like there's just, and some people can go raw vegan overnight, and I mean, that's amazing. I bet, and that's what we're talking about, is the freedom, right? The freedom of knowing that they're several different paths to getting to what you want to do and what's going to make you feel best. And I mean, I feel like when it comes to looking at, say, Beyond Meat again, the environmental footprint of Beyond Meat burger is so much smaller than a cow burger. You know, they didn't have to raise a cow and raise the feed for that cow and the water and all that. So there's, on the environmental and the ethical side, I see the reason, the point for that. And but for health, I totally agree with you that yeah, the more we can eat the rainbow, the more we can not read and decipher product lists. And that was so eye-opening for me too, when we found out that my son was allergic to dairy, to start reading the ingredient labels. And I'm like, I get to a point where I'm like, if I can't pronounce it, I don't want to eat it. You know, that can't possibly be food. And also comparing food in the States where I live now to when we go visit Sweden, things that are not allowed in Sweden is served as food here. So I had this like naive notion that whatever was I could buy in a grocery store was food. You know, I was in for a rude awakening, just like red 40, all these different dyes that are in food here in America. Like they have different versions of, say, Subway bread in Europe versus here in the States. I mean, here I read that some of the things they use for the bread here are the same things that you use to make yoga mats. I mean, that doesn't sound like food to me. You know, so we get to go back to being curious, like, what is in this? Do I know what is in this food? You know, and we were looking for dairy because we didn't want dairy in there. But like, if I go buy peanut butter, I want there to be one ingredient, and I want that to be peanuts. I don't want the first ingredient to be sugar or high fructose corn syrup. You know, I want the first and only ingredient to be peanuts. So then we just get to go to the store, be excited, be curious, and start just seeing what else is there. And again, like when it comes to the grocery store, I feel like staying around the perimeter of the grocery store is going to be better. You know, that's where the produce, you know, English and me, we're like semi best friends. We're getting there. Some of the words still struggle with pronouncing, but yeah, so all the veggies, the fruits, onions, potatoes, all that stuff is going to be on the side. We also eat a lot of beans, rice, just lentils, tomatoes. Just, we can still get all the flavors. Lots of, like, the secret is in the spices, you know, because what I realized was that some of the things that I like to eat, say lox, for example, it wasn't the fact that it was a dead fish that I enjoyed. What I liked was like the smoky flavor. I liked the texture of it, and I liked the dill and the capers. I realized that you can do the same thing with carrots. You know, you can get all that and you can make it on your own, or you can buy it. Like, it's just what is it in this meal that I like? You know, and I often like the garlic or the spices, and we get all that. Chili, for example, we love chili. We still make chili, we just don't put in the ground beef. So the ground beef didn't have any flavor. You know, it was the chili powder or the garlic. That's where the flavor comes from. So it's just like, again, like being excited, being curious. Like my husband and I, we are such nerds. We were seriously like high five each other in the kitchen when we have just like figured out how to make another, like, something that everybody loves. So it's just about having fun and being excited, and it's just such a wonderful way to live.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's one of the things that I realized when I moved out from my hometown the first time to go to university. I didn't know how to cook. And because even though I'm Italian, and like all Italian moms are supposed to be wonderful cooks that teach you everything, my mom was working full time, and so I didn't have that in my family. And what happened was I just arrived there and I had no idea how to cook. And one of the things that I absolutely love about living out on my own for the first time was exploring and just like go to a grocery store. I was like, okay, what is this and how do I cook it?
Yeah.
And I cook it the first time, and it's, yeah, this is not how I like it. And then you discover new tastes, and you try with with some spices, and then sometimes you find something like, wow, this is the first time I eat it and it's so good. And sometimes you're like, wow, I'm never gonna try that again. And after a while, one of the things that absolutely thrilled me was that by just remembering the smell and the taste of the single ingredients and the single spices, I could combine them in my head and say,
Mm.
okay, these 2 or 3 things could work together. And so I just tried it, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
But that's how, like, nowadays it's more the times that I get it right than the times when I get it wrong. Unless I'm like following a recipe, then of course, like, the recipe has already been tested and everything. um, and so it kind of simplifies. If you don't want to do all of that because your creativity just sparks in different areas of life, then
Yeah.
that's totally fine. I mean, there's people
Yeah.
that have done that work, that they love that, and they're sharing the recipes with you. And
Mm.
so um, just go and experiment on yourself and see what is really working for you. Oh, Lucia's here! Yay! So good. I think she's connecting her audio. But anyway, yeah. Hi there. And so one of the things that I think it's really important to understand is that you're not depriving yourself by not eating certain group of foods. You're actually pushing yourself towards being creative and just exploring something new, and you will learn so much, and it will be so much fun, just the entire process. And so how has been like your own personal process and journey when you start changing the way you were eating?
Well, yeah, I hear you on making a lot of interesting meals for sure. But and that's the thing. I think I'm actually a better chef now than I was when we were omnivores, when we were just eating. And that's what I think is so interesting. In America, it's called the SAD diet. Those are the acronyms, the Standard American Diet, and it's really sad. But yeah, I was not a very inspired chef before. And like I said, we've been doing this for years now, and we just have so much fun. And we fail a lot. And but the more we practice, the better we get. And again, with the like being the recovering perfectionist, I wanted to know it all in the beginning. And I had to just be like, it's fine. And what I love about vegan cooking too is that you can taste it as you go along. You don't have to cook away any harmful, bacteria. You can just taste test it like all the way through. And yeah, we just have so much fun. I have a lot of cookbooks at home, also get a lot of inspiration from Pinterest. So whatever we want to eat, I just type in, say, chili, again, for an example, chili, and then I just add the word vegan to that. And I mean, there's so many amazing recipes out there. And now it's kind of like I have this like little inner rebel. So I never follow a recipe exactly anymore because we know what we like. So then we just you say 1 clove of garlic. Well, I'm obviously gonna add 3. You actually don't know what you're talking about. But it's been so. And then when I first moved out, I brought these recipes with me from home, and I would like measure things like the little teaspoons, just exactly to get. I don't do that anymore. And I would just like a little bit this, a little bit that. This is gonna be good, and then most of the time now it turns out. But yeah, we had some interesting. And that's the thing. Like the more I'm doing this, the core really is to have fun and to be able to laugh at yourself and do it together. Put on some music, just go in the kitchen and be like, okay, what are we gonna eat today? And just like have fun and feel alive. I mean, I love it so much.
Yes, this is so good. And like the feeling alive part is so important with everything that we're doing for getting ourselves up and living the life that we want. If we don't feel alive when we are doing something, or when we are how can I say, changing our diets a certain way, and then we struggle, and then so of course there is always going to be, especially at the beginning, a little bit of struggle and a little bit of learning curve and a little bit of adjusting and a little bit of understanding where our resistance is coming from. But if then after this initial phase you still feel like you're not getting any joy out of this, and you're not getting like the benefits that you started this whole journey with that in mind, then probably you might tweak things a little. That probably it might not be, I mean, all these diets and way of eating there are out there, they don't work for everybody. The reason why there are so many different things out there is because there are so many different people out there. And of course, you do you, boo. We all need to realize that there are some things that we universally are bad for us, like dairy, like dairy that we discussed earlier. So yes, after coffee, we ruined dairy for you guys. um, but all the rest, you can literally listen to your body and see how it's going, what is going on in your life, in your body, in your mind. Everything is interconnected, and it is really important to be true to yourself. So one of the things that really shocks me is that people are just doing things because other people are doing that. If you go deep and you look at yourself in the mirror and see what is really what your soul and what your purpose and what your vision is for your life, then you will know. Like we were talking with Caroline earlier, because I had her on, and Kristine
Oh,
was Caroline.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really was important in that conversation was that, like, listen to your internal voice. It's always there. It's always going to support you. And it's the voice of your body. It's the voice of your mind. It's the voice of your heart. And that is screaming to you. If you're not listening, it's going to be screaming to you. But then the less you listen, the less screaming it will, and it would just be a whisper. So if you feel like you don't have direction in your life, and you feel like you need to make a change and you don't know where to start from you. Like everything is already here inside of you. And sorry, I went on a tangent.
But I absolutely love that, and find that spark in you. Like when I watched Forks Over Knives, I seriously, it was like it came alive. I was just wanting to shout it from the rooftops, like, people, there's another way. We don't have to eat animals anymore. I was just like, ah! So I mean, that was obviously like my calling. Like I'm like, I had been offered a chance to work at a slaughterhouse in Sweden. We do this like work practice thing. So you can go out for 2 weeks during school in high school, and you get to try different things. I chose to work as an accountant because going to work at a slaughterhouse, I knew was going to be the end of this, having these blinders on, because like I said, like in my core, I've always been vegan. Like eating animals never felt right for me. So finding that movie, just like starting to like dig deeper into that was like finding myself. So I hear that, like, what is your spark? Like what really calls to you? So whenever, I never like fall off the vegan wagon, because it's not a diet for me. For me, it's a way of life. For me, it's like aligning to my core purpose, my compassion and my love for all sentient beings and all animals. Like you said, we're all animals. So for me, that's just like, it's not hard for me, but it took me a while to get there. And also, if you are being curious and really brave, What really made it easy for us, after we watched the movie Earthlings, and my husband and I watched it together, and like our hearts were just cracked wide open. We went through like a whole box of Kleenexes, and we just like we just came out different on the other side. It was like a total metamorphosis for us. Just like, oh my God, that's just not food. Animals are not food anymore. And for us, it was like coming home.
That's so good to hear.
Mhm.
Yes. So that, yeah, like alignment with yourself, your purpose. It can comes in it comes in many ways. It can come from book. It can come from an interview that you're watching on on a live panel on a summit. So if this sparked something into you, and feel free to reach out to Kristine, and you can watch the recording of this. I'm going to put everything into the panel page on the summit website. And since I haven't been talking about it a little bit, I'm going to take like 2 minutes to talk to you about the VIP upgrade. So the Food Freedom Summit is 100% a free event. But if you want to have all the interviews for life, including the one of the live panel that we're on right now, consider upgrading to the VIP. You're going to get a bunch of extra bonuses and a 3-hour masterclass that will help you go deeper into everything that we talked about during these interviews. And then you'll also have extra gifts from some of our speakers. So if you are in love already with some of our speakers, just consider upgrading to VIP. Also because 50% of what you pay is going to be donated to the Nooks Foundation. So the Nooks Foundation is a South African organization that is helping changing the food Mondays in South Africa, because the situation, it's not all roses, and like the way we have been changing the food that we eat, especially in the past 60 years, has been like devastating for us. And the way that we can make a change is actually through, on one side, trying to change the food mandates and the food guidelines of each country we live in, and then education. So the Nooks Foundation is also educating people on both the general public and doctors on how to support people with nutrition and disease reversal and everything. And one of the things that I'm really excited about for our next speaker is that she is working with diabetes reversal. And so that is one of the things that I think it's really important to understand, that once you've been diagnosed, it's not the end of the world. And so consider deepening your knowledge and your understanding. If you want to go deep, if you're going to go nerdy, just upgrade to VIP. You can watch and rewatch all the interviews and get all these extra bonuses and gifts. And you can also make a change in South Africa's and the world's with the donation. So here we are. We still have a little bit of time. So if Kristine, do you have something that you absolutely want to tell people that might be vegan curious? Something that maybe has been shared during your summit, because I know you recently had one as well.
Oh. Well, if you are vegan curious, I think the number one thing to think about is to be gentle with yourself and to just start opening your eyes and ears and just like be curious and have fun and know that it's gonna be, that you're safe. And also, one of the things that we started with, which I really helped me, was veganizing your day-to-day meals. And we've touched about that a little bit. And it doesn't mean that you have to go out and find like vegan ham or vegan chicken, which all the things that my son likes to say, anything that you can eat, I can eat vegan. And it's so true. But it's also about finding, like we were talking about, all those flavors in the things that you already love, but without the animal products. So like the chili without the ground beef, like how can we make that happen? And I think that like I know, for example, for me, I love Italian food. I love Mexican food. I like spicy food, Thai food. We can still get all those flavors. So just being curious about how can I make this vegan and having fun. Um, and also realizing that there's not one way to do this. It's not like a set step of directions for how to get there. And that you get to practice. Like life is practice. We don't have to be perfect. So don't do nothing because you can't do everything. Do something, anything today to get you closer to where you want to be. And another thing that I want to touch on too is just understanding like why we eat. Like as I touched upon earlier, was that I come from like addiction and overdoing a lot of things. So for me, like I was addicted to sugar as well. So just asking yourself, like before you eat, like why am I eating this, whatever it is? Am I really hungry? Is it going to nourish me, or is it a treat? And is it a treat that is an actual treat for your body? Like in my past, a cigarette was a treat. I'm going to take this time for myself. I gotta treat myself to 10 minutes by myself. By poisoning myself, like, like there was like a disconnect. So like looking at the treats that you have, are they really treats? And maybe a treat right now is to have a sip of water. Love, right? You know, like that's a treat. Maybe the treat is to go for a walk or to have an apple. Like what, like if you're hungry, have an apple. It's like that's where I am now in my journey. It's like finding that self-love and just being like, I want to treat myself with things that are actually good for me. Like I'm done with this, like going to war with myself part of my life. Like I get to practice being nice to myself, and just know that you can reach out to me if you're curious. You can find me a Mom Vegan Love on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm happy to help. Like as you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about this, so I can help you get here if this is what you want to do. So yeah, and you're not alone, never alone.
Yes, community is also another big topic that has come up multiple times during the interviews. It's like, you're not alone. You're not the only one having like these urges, these thoughts, having the same vision. So
Yeah.
there is, your tribe is out there. You just have to reach out and ask for support. We gave you permission to ask for support.
And I love that. There's an organization too that's called Vegan Outreach, and then I think they're global, and then you can get a mentor, and it's free. And I did that at one point, and turns out, because in the suburb where we were living at the time, I thought we were the only vegans, and through Vegan Outreach, we found another family just like ours, just basically up the street, that we got connected through this organization. So, and it helped us so much to know that we're not alone and that we're like down doing the right thing, and just sharing recipes and all that. And yeah.
Yes, that's so good. It's so much fun. It's so much fun just like connecting with people and then finding out that they're just around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're not around the corner, then you will get to create, you can create, you get to create your own community around you. And it doesn't matter um if it's like in life, if it's
Yes.
online. Like right now, one of the big gifts that like COVID gave us, I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it is actually being able to connect with our other people through technology, and it's very, very easy right now.
Oh yeah,
So
I mean, just the way we've met, right? It's all
yeah.
been over Zoom meetings and these amazing leadership programs that we get to be a part of. And I feel very connected to you, even though you're in like across the Atlantic Ocean. I love it. I'm so grateful that we met.
Yes, I can't wait to like travel and meet all these new friends that I met online, and that
Yes.
is like, that is really expanding the world so much. And at the same time, you feel like it is small. It is a small community.
Mm.
We are all here, and we can all make a difference.
Yeah.
Every single one of us working towards what we do. And so on that note, thank you so much, Kristine. It has been a pleasure to having you here and like go deeper on your passion. And so we have our fantastic next speaker that I'm gonna pull up together. Yay! Hi. So how do I actually pronounce it? It's because I am Italian, so I would pronounce it as Lucia. Is that how you actually pronounce it? Oh, you're muted. It's
All
over
right.
Hello, Zoom.
Yeah, I know, right? I actually pronounce it Lucia, which is the
Lucia.
Spanish way.
The Spanish way.
But I get
Yeah.
called all kinds of things, so it's fine.
That's so good. It's so much fun. And I think you guys know each other, right?
Yes, I'm so happy
Kinda.
that Kristine got to be the one leading into mine. It's a
Yes.
perfect frame for mine.
Yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
Kristine. I've really been enjoying what you've been sharing as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to hear what you're going to share. Lucia was on my summit as well. And
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
everybody loved her shares. And she kicked off the summit with a bang. Thank you.
It was so much fun.